Started the day in Palo Alto. Is that where I start? Yeah, Palo Alto. And I finished the day here in Cottage Grove, Oregon, the great mecca of Cottage Grove, Oregon, because I'm on a road trip with the wife and the dog and the podcast equipment, the notes, and this ends up being episode 210 of Coast to Coast Pinball with no Star Wars spoilers. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast commentary, and I am a man out of quarters. How are you doing? It's a holiday week. I'm off work for 2 straight weeks, as is the lovely Teresa. Our vacations line up perfectly, and we're on a road trip, like I said, and we're not going to spoil Star Wars for anybody who hasn't gone and seen it yet. You're out of your mind if you haven't seen it. It's great. We're coming to you, not live, from an interesting little roadside hotel, one that will accept little blind diabetic dogs like ours, here on Monday night, December 21st, 2015, from, like I said, Cottage Grove, Oregon. So south of Eugene somewhere. We're headed towards the Seattle general area to see the grandparents. So anyway, what's going on? There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, friendly listener. There's so much going on. I have a whole list of notes for probably 2 shows. Won't get through all of it tonight, I don't believe. We're also going to do a wrap-up show to 2015 here in the next week or so, and we'll throw in some predictions. I've had a few emails this week from people both offering me their predictions for 2016 and asking what mine are, and I have told them all, I mentioned that what I did is I emailed them boisterously, like, yeah, I'm totally going to do a prediction show. And then as the year has ended and come closer, I'm like, oh man, I got to do a prediction show. So, because I claimed I would. So we will get to that. We'll hit some hot topics tonight. Before we jump into the show, though, I have an announcement. I have a reveal of sorts. It's an announcement of a reveal, if that makes sense. I'm going to tell you what's coming before it's actually coming. So I have been working for a while now on a couple video, and I put up air quotes because it's video, it's not audio. It's video projects. And let's just tell the whole story. I really want to do short-form pinball documentaries. Like, I really want to do that. I have camera equipment. I have some skill to do it. I have editing equipment. I really want to do that. There's stories that I think would be so fun to tell in the video format in pinball. I would like to do that. It's hard. It's a lot of hard work. There's people working on some video projects right now in pinball that I know are nodding their head, yes, this is hard work. And I still would like to get to those. But as I was developing a few of my little ideas for these short-form documentaries, which I will address again in a later dog, you're going to hear our dog. He's whining. He doesn't like this hotel. Sparta. Anyway, when I was brainstorming ideas for this, I came up with another idea. And when I pitched idea number 2, a lot of people were like, yeah, I like that better than your first idea. I think a lot of people heard my first idea and they thought, oh, okay, so you know how to make films. And I'm like, well, no, not exactly. And they're like, so you're just going to do documentaries because you know how to do that. And I'm like, well, no, not exactly. So I think I had some people kind of looking at me like I was biting off more than I could chew, which maybe I was. But my second idea, people seem to get on board with a little bit quicker. And when we prototyped idea number 2, which is now idea number 1, it went very well. So here's what I'm announcing. Starting probably Christmas Day, I think that's going to end up being the launch date. Maybe Christmas Eve, for those of you who like to get to open a present on Christmas Eve. I'm not a super religious guy, but I've always celebrated Christmas with the family. I like that. We're going to do that this week. But I have a show for you. We're doing a web show. And I say we as in me and with a little help from my friends. This show will be called Pinball with the Pros. The short pitch on Pinball with the Pros is it is a cross between a pinball tutorial video and a playing lesson and my podcast in video form. So think multi-camera. So like what you see on a Twitch-style pinball feed, something like you might see on Dead Flip's show or the Boston Pinball Guys. So you have multiple camera angles, and then cross it with a lesson, because it's going to be me and a, quote, pro pinball player, top 50 and above, I think is kind of where I'm drawing that line until somebody I want to be on the show is ranked like 55, and then it'll be top 100. But for right now, top 50. And it'll be on one game per episode, and it will be me learning how to play better on that game with multiple cameras and me and the pro. There will be pop-up text, which you'll see you'll get it when you see it. When you see it, you'll go, oh, I see what he means. So that while we're talking about rules and talking about features of the game that we're going to be playing, that text will pop up. So you can both see us playing it, see us going for it, and also have a visual representation. I will tell you right now, episode 1 will be featuring Keith Elwin, probably the greatest. I say this at the beginning of the show, you're going to see it. Probably the greatest competitive pinball player of all time. Keith Elwin on AC/DC. So, episode 1, Pinball with the Pros, later this week. Myself getting a schooling on how to play better, how to score better, how to attack AC/DC with Keith Elwin. Do you guys want some foreshadowing into future episodes? Well, I'll tell you this. People that you've heard come on the show before are going to be on the show. I have 5 of the episodes already filmed. There's a lot of editing on these, though, so they'll take a while. I plan to release one at least once a month, maybe every 3 weeks or so, until I catch up with myself. Big news on this. Stern Pinball is sponsoring Pinball with the Pros. So I've never taken a sponsor to Coast2Coast Pinball, the podcast. I've just never felt comfortable coming on here and saying that this is my commentary and I'm going to talk pinball and the business of pinball and the world of pinball, and then throw to a sponsor's commercial or somebody that's paying me either with money or parts or games, as has been offered many times. I've never felt totally comfortable in doing that, because I thought the whole pitch of this show to you was it's a guy who's really in love and excited about pinball, who gets to travel because of just happenstance and work and luck, and see different things, and I want to talk about it and have a take, have an opinion, and you'll either agree or disagree, and it'll become a conversation, and it becomes this show that we now have thousands and thousands of people downloading when I put them out. So that's awesome. So I've never taken a sponsor. And I entertained taking sponsors outside pinball, but I just haven't kind of been able to get over that hump of, do I want to, I don't know, it's not selling out really, it's just changing the approach. Because as soon as I take, like, I don't know, let's say there's a new company that makes toppers for pinball machines, and they're called Greatest Topper Company Ever. And I start doing ads for them. Like, maybe I read their ads every episode and they send money or toppers for my games or something. As soon as I start doing that, I now am beholden to that. So I've never done that, and it affects this show. And I wanted this show to always be just my opinion. So, Pinball with the Pros, I actively looked for sponsors, because there is no commentary in this show. It's me learning to play a game. And I really wanted to be able to, buy the right equipment to do this properly. B, I wanted to be able to travel to certain places, to certain players, like maybe New York City, maybe Chicago, maybe other places in the near future, independently from my normal travel, to get these episodes recorded. So I needed money, and I have lost lots of money on Coast2Coast Pinball over the past couple and a half, 3 years, whatever it's been. I've lost lots of money, and there comes a point where you're just like, man, I want to do all this, but I need to, like, see if I could possibly get some of this back and maybe not even make money, but just make the loss a little bit softer. So Josh Sharp and I recorded a test episode at Expo, actually in his basement. And I don't even want to spoil what it is, because it may come out someday. It's actually called Episode 0, and we used a game. And my idea was, I was either going to get one really good quality sponsor on board to sponsor the whole show, or B, I was going to get multiple smaller sponsors to, like, rotate through and have multiple ads and that sort of thing. That was another option. Or C, I was going to go the crowdfunding route and pitch it to everybody as, here's the test video, do an Indiegogo, do a Kickstarter, something like that. And honestly, that was my third option. I wanted to do that one the least, because I really kind of didn't want to ask for anybody's money from the community. I got to grab my dog, guys. Sorry, he's really bothered by this whole situation. Come here, buddy. Front row to the podcast. Sparta the dog. So, anyway, my pitch at first with my test episode with Josh's help was to Stern. We went to Stern Pinball, and we pitched them and said, hey, here's what we want to do. We want to do this video show with a top player, and then me trying to get better and playing with the top players. And if you guys would sponsor the show, we'll do all Stern games. So I'm tipping my hat as what the first season of these shows is going to be. It's going to be all Stern games. And they came back and they were in. And we had our sponsor right off the bat. So Pinball with the Pros, sponsored by Stern Pinball. Episode 1, Keith Elwin, AC/DC, this week. Episode 2, I hope to have out, middle of January, something like that. And it was recorded in New York City. So there's a little foreshadowing for you. And I have other people I've reached out to have on the show. I'll probably have, in the first episode, which will end up being, I think, 10 episodes, I'll probably have 5 people do 2 episodes each. Maybe mix it up a little bit more depending on people's schedule. But one of the main reasons I went the sponsorship route is I wanted to be able to do all that stuff that I told you, travel, get the right gear, and I wanted to be able to pay the players who came on, so that some of these top elite players who are going to waste their time with me and a bunch of cameras and the setup time and the editing and all that, I wanted to be able to let them say, hey, I got paid to play pinball today. So it's not a lot of money, obviously, but it's pinball, so we're doing this for the love of it. But it was really gracious of Stern to come on board as the one and only sponsor of Pinball with the Pros. And they're very aware that it doesn't change anything with Coast2Coast Pinball, so if I don't like their Game of Thrones artwork, I will still tell them I don't like their Game of Thrones artwork, as it may be, as long as Coast2Coast Pinball exists like it does currently. So that's my big announcement. That's what I got going on. I'm finishing up the final edit of Episode 1. I'm pretty excited. I can't wait for people to see it. The whole goal of the show, really, it's not a full-on tutorial. I think there's great tutorials of most of the games out there already. It's really more of watching somebody get a lesson on a game. Like, I've learned the most from pinball players when I'm standing in front of the game with a player and they're showing me how to hit shots or what order or what modes to start, or just the basic rules to some of these modern games that are complicated. We're trying to capture that on video so that you or people who aren't even into pinball yet can find these videos down the road and get that experience from somebody who actually has done it in high-level competition and put up big scores. So I think they're really fun. Every episode is going to be completely different because the personality of the players will be different. Some are going to be loud and boisterous. Some are going to be relaxed and low-key. We're not trying to show you the whole game. We're going to totally avoid certain things because it's just not what we get to. It's really going to be unique. I think what's going to be interesting is we may do... Keith Elwin and I may... we have this AC/DC episode, which runs about an hour. I think that down the road, I could return to AC/DC with another player. Say Zach Sharp and I could go do AC/DC. It wouldn't be in Season 1, it'd be in Season 2 to mix the games up. But we could go back and have a totally fresh and new take on AC/DC from a different player. So Keith even suggests that, I think, while we're playing AC/DC. So I'm really excited. Got a lot of help from Josh Sharp on rules. Got a lot of help from Bowen Cairns, even though he doesn't know it yet, from his guide on AC/DC, getting all the stuff out that we wanted to. So anyway, really excited for you guys to see it. That's a lot of what I've been working on the past few weeks. So can't wait. Pinball with the Pros. And there'll be links to it all over my website. I'll have Pinside posts, Facebook, the whole deal. You'll know it when I launch it. Don't worry about that. But it'll be based on YouTube, and pretty excited.
5 fast thoughts.
All right, 5 fast thoughts here for episode 210. Fast thought number 1. I don't know if you guys follow Keith Elwin, who I just mentioned for my first episode of Pinball with the Pros, but there's been a post by him on Facebook recently. He put up a single shot, a multi-kill shot on The Walking Dead that was worth one shot, not total game score, 772,400 and something points in one shot. Like, I don't even know what to do with that. That's a lot. Even in the context of the scoring of that game, that's a lot. So, again, I think that just points to a couple things. Keith Elwin's really great, and The Walking Dead code has some very interesting tactics in there. So, fast thought number 2. I don't know if we mentioned this on the last episode, if we did, one of the last episodes, but Pinburg, next summer in Pittsburgh at the Replay FX Festival, did sell out its 700 plus players. There's a waiting list that happened in just a few hours. It's going to be awesome. A lot of goodwill was bought last year, so I knew that was going to go quick. Can't wait. Fast thought number 3. Did Stern miss the opportunity for a Star Wars pinball right now with the launch of this movie? As we're sitting here Monday night, I know it set box office records, biggest opening ever. Teresa and I loved it. It was fantastic. And I had a lot of people emailing going, hey, why on earth isn't there a pinball machine? The only thing I can say is, I've been playing Star Wars Battlefront on PlayStation 4, and there's nothing from the new movie and the new source material in that game because they're trying not to spoil anything. It's a big secret what the movie was going to be about. So, no, I don't think Stern did miss. I think that the proper move, unless they wanted to rehash, old source material, was to wait till they got this one. I think you could release an Episode 7 pinball machine in 6 months, or time it with the DVD or something, or next year even, and use the material. If it were me, I'd probably release an machine for each episode. That's just what I'm thinking. Fast thought number 4. Jersey Jack Pinball sent out a newsletter, building samples, production underway in January. So it's interesting watching sort of the 2-horse race, because I also got a new newsletter from Dutch Pinball. So in the same kind of week period, we saw Dutch Pinball saying, hey, we're almost there to production, stick with us. We made a few more steps towards that. And then Jersey Jack Pinball kind of right on their heels, saying the same sort of thing. Those two companies are in a lot of the conversations of whose game hits first, The Big Lebowski or The Hobbit. I mean, I don't really care which one gets out first. I just want them both to get out because they both look fantastic, and I'm excited to get to play those games finally. Fast thought number 5. Did I mention to you that I have a new web show coming out called Pinball with the Pros? I don't know if I mentioned that or not. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the beginning of the podcast and start over. So there's your 5 fast thoughts for episode 210.
Forum static.
All right, we're going to clean up some of this forum static that I've been staring at and making notes about for seemingly 2 weeks and have not yet gotten to on the show. Let's talk about the Domino's Pizza pinball art contest that hit and people kind of blew up about. So the Domino's Pizza pinball machine being built by Spooky Pinball this year, which is a project with the good folks at Domino's, who envisioned this as a product that would be charitable in its profits and also be purchased mainly by franchise owners at Domino's, and most of them would be putting it in their home personal space, or possibly, if the store allowed, in the store. I think it caught the Domino's people by surprise that people outside of Domino's might want to buy the game, because there's been some interest in that. People saying, hey, I would like a chance to buy this thing if it looks cool. And then I think it caught Spooky by surprise that enough people wanted to buy a Domino's Pizza pinball machine, period. But here we have it. So the third game Spooky will be building will be this Domino's game. Then Adam from Domino's, who sort of spearheaded this project, came online and put up a contest. It was basically an art contest. Give us art ideas, layout ideas. They're looking for ideas, and they wanted to award a certain winner with some free pizza. So on the surface, no harm, no foul, right? Just it's a little contest to create excitement for the Domino's Pizza thing. Adam's really into pinball right now. I've met Adam. I played with Adam at the EM World Championships up at the Vintage Flipper World deal in I always want to say Wisconsin. It was in Michigan last year. Really good dude. Really excited about pinball. So picture yourself, you, friendly listener, picture the day you were the most excited about pinball, when you were really, really into it, like when you were scanning Craigslist every 5 minutes, looking for new games, tracking eBay auctions, reading every single post on Pinside, downloading podcasts by nutcases like me and listening to all of them. Imagine that day. That's you, okay? That's kind of where Adam's at. Adam from Domino's is really into pinball to the point that he went to a big corporate entity like Domino's and said, let's build a pinball machine. And he got it pushed through. And then he went to Spooky Pinball and said, let's build a pinball machine. And they said, okay, let's do it. He's at the peak level of enthusiasm. And so he wants to promote this and talk and create excitement. And he went online with a contest to give away some pizza gift cards for art ideas. Some people pushed back pretty heavily. There was a lot of hubbaloo, Teresa? Hubbub. No, hubbaloo. But come on, help me out here.
Hubbub.
No, there's another word there.
Hullabaloo?
Hullabaloo. Yeah, hullabaloo. Thank you. I got a teacher for a wife over here. About the fact that art for spec, like spec work for art or contest for art or side of things, is insulting to actual artists who do this for a living and make their money by creating art, and that this was like a shot at them. And I totally see that. I'm not here to totally defend this. I'm here to say that there's two sides and we all need to calm down. So I was a musician for many years. I played in bands. I toured the country. I spent money I didn't have to try and be in a band. I printed CDs, tapes even way back then. I did all of that stuff. And many, many times you would get the call or the email of like, hey, we got this event. Like, we got a 5K fun run, and it's going to be like 8 in the morning, and there's going to be like 10,000 people running by. We'd love to have your band play on the corner of Dumb Street and Stupid Avenue. Like, come on down. And you're like, okay, so this is the lamest gig I've ever heard of, but maybe it'll pay good. And they're like, and so you write back, okay, cool, what's the gig pay? And they're like, oh, well, no, I mean, we can't actually pay the bands. You're going to get exposure for playing on the corner of Dumb Street and Stupid Avenue. And it'll be great for your band. Lots of people will see you as they're running by in a 10K race. This is actually a real example from my life when I was like 17 years old. And by the way, I did go and do it for free. This happens to creatives. People who work in creative fields, because a lot of, I think there's a certain kind of corporate culture who sees somebody who draws for a living or who plays a guitar for a living, who sees that and they go, well, that's not really work. This guy, like, he just plays with paint all day. Like, he has a activity for a career, so I don't actually have to pay him for his little hobby that he's turned into a career. So I get where someone could see an art contest and get really upset. This wasn't really that situation. This was much, much more innocent than I think it was. And actually, to Pinside's credit, I think over the course of this thread, this is where I'm being late with my show. This isn't that relevant because I think people saw that eventually. And I think Adam came on and explained himself. Nobody was really looking for, hey, please design our entire playfield art package, or please design the cabinet art package. And so we'll get away with professional level art design for $250 in pizza. I mean, I don't think that's really what they were going for. Do I think that Adam and Domino's would love to see some cool ideas to maybe throw towards Spooky to sort of get the best possible game out of this? Yeah, I do. I actually really do think that. And when you have a website and a community like Pinside, a very vocal, active community like Pinside, where people are very, very eager and actively critiquing and tearing apart at times, and also commending artwork constantly. Anytime there's new artwork, I can easily see the idea of like, hey, all these guys have all these ideas, throw some our way and we'll give you some pizza. I get that. So I thought it was pretty innocent. I thought it was interesting that it blew up like it did, but it blew up like it did because it's real out there. It is real. There are people who are in the creative arts who get completely shafted by certain companies, certain organizations, people who just don't understand that, yes, I play ukulele for a living, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do it for free for your friend's bar mitzvah just because you want me to. You still got to pay me, because that's how I can afford to pay my rent so that I can be here to play my ukulele for you next time you need me. So I get both sides, but at the end of the day, I think Domino's just wants some ideas. Adam actually reached out to me at one point and said, hey, if you have any ideas, throw them my way, because, hey, who's got a lot to talk about? I talk a lot. Perfect guy to ask, right? Unfortunately, I can't design pinball machines or games or art. So, anyway, I wish them all the best of luck. That's going to be fun. Speaking of... I got Teresa laughing at me in here. Speaking of artwork, so we had a leak this week on Pinside. We think it's a leak. I cannot confirm nor deny that this was a actual leak, but what we had happen was we had artwork for what was said to be the translate to the next Stern release, the much rumored Ghostbusters release by Stern Pinball. We had a translate image leak out on the Pinside and then out on social media, still posted around the web. It's very interesting because there's all sorts of rumors going around, and I hate this show to be the rumor machine. And it becomes difficult when I actually know any part of the story. It's really easy to sit here and say, I don't know anything about this, so this is all speculation. But I'm not going to lie to you and say, I don't know anything about this, and this is all speculation, because I do know some about this. So I'm just going to play this with kid gloves a little bit. An image was leaked. Pinside was asked to take it down. They took it down. People got all excited and crazed and Some people loved this artwork. Some people didn't like the artwork. Some people said that's not real. Some people said that's absolutely real. Some people said it's still in production stages, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a story just because there's a lot of like this speculation, like, oh, it's a purposed leak. Like they leaked this on purpose to steal the discussion away, which I would be really surprised if that's the case. I guess stranger things in the world have happened. It was a week of everyone talking about Spooky Pinball, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a second. It was the week that The Hobbit and The Big Lebowski emails came out showing production starting, so that was interesting. And a lot of people thought, well, why wouldn't they give a little teaser towards the future, possibly? Doesn't seem like Stern's MO to me. Doesn't seem like it. Maybe. Conspiracy theorists seem to think that's possible. But it's really an interesting story in that, you know, this tiny little industry, when things get passed around, you got to be careful. And I've had people in this industry, you know, show me stuff and then just freak out and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I showed you that. You shouldn't tell me. And it puts me in kind of a funny spot because I do have this show and I would love to be the guy with all the inside information so that I can sound like the smartest guy in the room. I mean, who doesn't love to sound like the smartest guy in the room? I know I like to sound like the smartest guy in the room. Clearly. Kidding. Anyway, so it's a funny thing with like leaking stuff that may or may not even be like approved by licensors. I know we had that with one of the toys in the Rob Zombie game with Spooky that hit the internet. It hadn't been approved. That was bad. So I guess it's a little disappointing to me seeing some of like the real active posters on Pinside who, you know, I think would probably in a vacuum tell you that they're, you know, really promoting and big fans of pinball. So nonchalantly just like spoiling the release of something when especially after they've been asked not to. It's like, come on, quit being a jerk. That's a little disappointing. And then part of me wants to talk about the artwork, but I guess I won't do that yet because it's you know, I don't want to talk about artwork that may not even be real because then I sound like a complete fool if it wasn't real. So I can't wait to see the release of this. I think that this Ghostbusters themed game has gotten so much build up that I really hope that we don't like let anybody down with all the hype, because that's the other side of things. You know, we saw with Game of Thrones all the hype for so long, and then people saw it and we're like, really? And now look, everyone wants Game of Thrones because the game shoots really great, plays really fun, and the artwork isn't impacting a lot of people's decision at this point on the game. So both these two pieces of forum static we just talked about were sort of art-centric, so let's just keep going with the artwork talk. Since the Rob Zombie release, and I talked about it on whatever episode that was, 2 episodes ago maybe? 1 episode ago? Couldn't even tell you. I think that was 209. Yeah, 209. Charlie Emery came on, and we talked about Rob Zombie. Since that release, there's been a lot of, you know, dissection of the artwork. You know, the cabinet artwork is sort of universally been praised. Like, this is amazing, it's beautiful. The backglass artwork, I think, was majority positive there. And then the playfield artwork has been the focus of so much. I went on record, I think, last episode and said I gave it a 7 out of a 10, just because I thought there was some space issues there where there's too much open space. Once I saw video play of the game, it didn't bother me as much because that is in an open space where there's going to be a lot of balls moving around. I know Charlie has come out and said since the release that they've decided they want to add playfield multipliers to the game and need additional inserts for that, and they're going to put those inserts up in that space, which will help fill that space out a little bit. I don't know how reactionary that is to the criticism of the art or not, but I think that could be good. I saw a pretty healthy dose of people who were not in on the game doing most of the criticizing, which always makes me wonder a little bit is like, are you just mad, bro? Like that you're not in on the game? I can't help but wonder that. I did see a few people who were able to purchase a game who were in that first 300 who also criticized it, so it wasn't all that sort of like sour grapes thing. There were some of those people, and I saw a couple people who criticized it pretty heavily and still sent their deposit in because I think the gameplay ideas, the theme idea, the known music, we know what the music of this game is going to be like already, the color display, I think all those things add up to a confirmed purchase for a lot of people. For a game we haven't even played, I know it's crazy. Numbers have gone out now. They have sold out the whole 300. They worked their way down through the wait list after some people did bow out. Interesting time of year to try and sell a $6,000 toy right before the holidays. People got families and things they got to, buy that don't concern pinball. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing this project go through. The one thing about the way Spooky does this whole process is you kind of know where you're going to be at. Since America's Most Haunted has been in production, we've seen the rate that they are able to produce a game in. Granted, this is a new game that will have new challenges and new things pop up. But I think that Spooky has done a fantastic job of installing this sort of confidence in their ability to build a certain amount in a certain time frame. So when faced with, if you said to me, Nate, what do you want? Rob Zombie, The Hobbit, or The Big Lebowski? 3 new games. Or, hey, let's throw in Game of Thrones. So there's 4 games right there. Or throw in what we think the next Stern game's going to be. 5 games, possibly. It gets difficult to choose The Hobbit or The Big Lebowski because I don't have any idea when those games are actually going to be shipped to my house. Like if I start sending money on a Hobbit or a Big Lebowski, I literally have no idea. Even if I think those games are superior in certain aspects to Rob Zombie, which I do. I will absolutely say that the overall package of The Hobbit with the HD screen and the movie and the art package of The Hobbit and some of the gameplay ideas and the coding that Keith Johnson's bringing in, yes, probably, in a vacuum, superior. Also, a lot more money. So let's get that right up front. And I don't know when it's ever going to get to me. So you look at the Big Lebowski, I think it's probably a little more of a complete tied-in art package playfield-wise. I think that I probably long-term will prefer the layout and toys of the Big Lebowski to Rob Zombie. So there's definitely some places to me where the Big Lebowski wins. It's also a lot more expensive, and I have no idea where it's coming because I'm going down this rabbit hole because I got an email from somebody saying, dude, why are you buying Rob Zombie? You're not a huge Rob Zombie fan. You really seem to like these other games. You really want to buy this game, blah, 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 blah. So I'm sort of here defending my position of I can get in on Rob Zombie here because A, it's $6,000. It's not $9,000. B, I can pay it off over time. Teresa's staring a hole in my head right now. She doesn't want scary games in the house. And C, I know when it's coming. Like, I got my number. I can do the math generally, and I have a pretty good time frame. But I will tell you, the price is a big deal because I can buy a $6,000 game, and this goes for Stern's Pro games too. $5,500 game. I can buy those games and be a little more comfortable than a $9,000 game. This is why I didn't buy a Medieval Madness remake, and know that I can probably sell it fairly easily because a lot of people will be in to buy that price game, and maybe not as many people on a $9,000 game. But I absolutely am waiting for Hobbit games to be in stock with a distributor and Big Lebowski's to be shipping freely and the ability to then make my buying decision at that point. But Spooky has really done a good job of, here's our product, here's what it's going to do, here's your list to get one, pay us a little now, pay us the rest when it's ready to ship, I can pay it off slowly over time, and I have a really unique, ultra-limited game. And that cannot be stressed enough, that the fact that 300 hard stop limit on this game does a lot for them because I don't have to worry ever about being able to sell this game. Even if the game doesn't play that great, even if it's not the most fun experience, I think it's going to play pretty cool. I think it's going to be a fun experience. I think the rules will be great. The dots are going to be fun. But let's say it just isn't for me, no problem selling this game. I'm certainly not buying it to invest it and turn it and make money. I just know that I have a very easy exit strategy on this. Whereas, honestly, buying a Game of Thrones Pro right now, I'm going to buy that if I really want it. Like, I want to buy a Walking Dead. I'm going to probably buy a Walking Dead as soon as I can get one. I'm going to buy a Walking Dead because I want that game. I want to have that game for a long time. And I don't care if I can sell it or not because there's lots of them out there. Anyway, I've drifted. It's getting late. Let's hear from Bo and Karen's on something, shall we?
Bowen's cheat sheet.
All right, Bowen Cairns is joining me tonight, and we are going to talk about an oldie but a goodie, and that one is Earthshaker. I see this pop up in a lot of tournaments and in some of the historical tournament scoring. Talk to me about Earthshaker. What is my best strategy here on this Pat Lawler classic?
Oh, I love this game. This is one of the first games I ever got really good at. And one of the core strategies is to continue shooting the center ramp over and over again. The center ramp is worth up from 50 to 100,000 points per shot, and it gives you miles. And if you're in arcade play, miles are especially valuable because they'll give you 2 extra balls, a special. In any case, you also get, when you get to 99 miles, every ramp for the rest of the game becomes worth 200,000 points, I think. So if you put this game in competition and you just set it up normally, players will just shoot that ramp over and over and over again, and they will get very high scores from getting to end of the road and achieving 200,000 per ramp shot. So it's very boring to watch. It's very boring to play that way, but it pays off. It's one of the best ways to play that game, and it's way more valuable to play it that way on location than it is in tournament because of the extra balls and special. If you're playing for tournament, I think the best way to play the game is to go get the multi-ball. And you do this by completing the zone lights that are lit around the game. 2 things to know about the zone lights. One is that the side ramp always spots a zone. So if you see a zone that's too difficult or it's dangerous, you can shoot the side ramp instead. You can earn zone lights during quick multi-ball. And you can also get a zone light from shooting number 9, the captive ball, at any time. So captive ball would always give you a zone light.
So there's lots of ways to get those zone lights all around the field lit up.
Yeah, and it's 1 through 9. At the beginning of the game, it lights them all, and you can get them in any order. Later in the game, it lights them by color, so you have to do 1 through 3 first, then 4, 5, 6, then 7, 8, 9. They go blue, yellow, red, I think. Then later, in the most advanced and difficult version, you have to get them in numerical order 1 at a time.
Oh, wow.
So they're not that hard. And there are only 9 of them, so it can't be very difficult. But it's reminiscent of the same rule they used in Whirlwind. If you played Whirlwind, you'll be familiar with how the behavior works there. When you finish 1 through 9, the side ramp is lit for a lock. You can also lock a ball in the little hole to the right of the ramp, but most players don't bother with that. They'll shoot the ramp, and it'll also drop the ball in that hole. Then do it again for the second lock, and that's it. There's only 2 balls to lock. Multi-ball starts immediately when you plunge the third ball. Then you have to shoot both ramps, first the center ramp and then the side ramp, and the side ramp awards a jackpot. The value of the jackpot is determined by a light in the back box, and that light will move every time you complete the 3 bank. So the jackpot can be increased up to $2.5 million, or it can be as small as 500,000 based on those drop target completions. So it can be worth it to change the value of the jackpot as you go.
But if I forget all of this and I step up to an Earthshaker, I can score points by just shooting that center ramp over and over and over again.
Yeah, but it's going to be boring. Come on.
Boring? I just want to win.
All right, then shoot center ramp over and over again. But I find that in some tournaments, like when Papa uses an Earthshaker, they make sure that there's no clean feed on that ramp. Like normally it's nice and smooth to the left flipper, but they're going to install a defect in the flipper feed there so that it will bounce and hop and make it more difficult to go ramp.
How dare them?
Deliberately to try and make people play the whole game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. So that's an interesting game that has such a basic, I wouldn't call it a flaw, but a scoring exploit. But really, to do it right, you need to go through the multi-balls and light everything.
Yeah, it also has the quick multi-ball, which you can earn either from a random award or from driving the captive ball value to 250,000 and then shooting the captive ball. So if the captive ball is lit on the right side for 250, that would also light quick multi-ball. And quick multi-ball, it's a very simple rule. Side ramp is 1 million. That's it. It's not even an unlimited million. It's just one shot. And then you're just playing 2 balls to try and finish your zones or shoot ramps.
So what's the skill shot in that game? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Skill shot is this kind of roundabout in the back left corner. And there are 4 places to put the ball. 3 that are holes similar to Pinbot that are worth 50, 25, and 100,000. And then you can also fly the ball around the whole thing, and it will count. It will go around like a left ramp. So at the start of multi-ball, it's actually valuable to fly that and send it all the way around, so that you can shoot the center ramp right away with a ball that's clean. That you don't have the other balls being kicked out and any interference.
All right, let's just do some quick hits from the mailbag. Let's see. This is from Ophelia. She says, during your chat with Ed Robertson on episode 207, you guys made mention about if Stern would be able to release machines from before 99. Well, Farsight Studios turned to Stern to release Starship Troopers and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein on the Pinball Arcade, made in 97 and 95 respectively, and both are classified as Stern games, not Data East or Sega or whatever those were. So I can say with certainty Stern does have access. Yeah, Ophelia is correct. Multiple people emailed about that. Yes, Stern does hold the rights to the Data East and Sega Pinball titles. Thank you guys for the correction on that. Let's see what else. It's from Justin. Hi, Nate. Discovered Coast2Coast Pinball this weekend from Eka. I am so happy you interviewed her. 1, because she deserves it. She got me and my buddy hooked by badgering us into doing her Would Eka badger anybody? Come on now. When we went out to play for fun one night, you could not want more friendly intro. You could not want a more friendly intro. She puts everyone at ease, and she does mad work to promote Bay Area pinball. Folks like that should have spotlights more. Glad you get it. 2, because it led me to discovering your podcast. I'm 10 episodes in already and hooked. Keep them coming. At this rate, I'll be through the next 198 by February. You rock, Jay. That's a lot of Coast-to-Coast Pinball episodes, but I appreciate it. Joe writes me, hey Nate, I'm a pretty new listener to the podcast, so listen to the 15 most recent episodes and also the oldest 15 episodes and trying to catch up on all the ones in between. Really appreciate the unique voice you bring to the conversation and culture of pinball. I'm amazed by the truly remarkable dedication you've committed. Oh, you're too kind. I got to stop reading that sentence. Just listen to one of your earlier episodes where you discussed the possible themes Stern may use in future and was wondering if you had any predictions for 2016. Personally, I think the following titles might make some compelling themes. Let us know your thoughts on which licensed themes you think would work. So his 5 themes that he listed here, and I won't predict any of my ideas, but I'll talk about his. Number 1, Doctor Who. Number 2, Mad Max. Number 3, Lego. Number 4, The Beatles. Says John Trudeau has been dying to make this happen. Number 5, Star Wars. Long shot since Disney owns it now, but I'd still love one. All right, let's go down this. Doctor Who. I think a new Doctor Who machine could be good, although there's just something great about that old game with those old doctors. I don't know if the new show has a broad enough reach. Teresa's shaking her head no, so I don't know. Maybe. People who like the new Doctor Who love the new Doctor Who. People who don't just don't really care. They're more apathetic. Number 2, Mad Max. Yes, Mad Max should be a pinball machine. Period. End of story. Teresa's giving you a thumbs up. I know they're going to do another Mad Max movie, so maybe they wait. Maybe they don't need to wait. Mad Max, I think, is just perfect for pinball. Number 3, Lego. You know, it depends which way you went with this. If you went like just Lego General, I don't know. But if you went like Lego Batman or Lego something like that, I think that could be really cool. Teresa, Lego?
It would have to be the whole Lego universe.
The whole Lego universe, she says. All right. I don't know what you're talking about. Number 4, The Beatles. I know that's a hard license to get, although I have seen some licensed Beatles stuff in the past couple of years. I'm thinking, well, if they'll license that, why not do a pinball machine? I know that there was once in the past rumored a Yellow Submarine pinball machine at one point that I don't know the whole story on, but that was out there. So yeah, I think that could be done right with certain art style and certain source material, like the cartoony Beatles stuff. I think that could be very cool. And number 5, Star Wars, long shot. I don't think it's a long shot at all. I think that's probably going to happen at some point. How does that not happen, right? I mean, it's happened before. And now that Disney owns it, Disney owns all the Marvel stuff, right? Tron, Disney Tron, Stern Tron. There you go. So, yeah, I think that happens. So, Joe, that's a great list. He says, again, keep up the fantastic work. Drop me a line if you ever visit Toronto, Ontario, Canada, in all bold letters. I like that. I like the national pride there. We're working really hard to grow the pinball scene up here. I try to update all pinball-related goings on with my Twitter account at Top Pin. This is confusing. This is one of those words that, like, one letter is the last letter in the first word and the first letter in the last word. So it's, maybe it's T.O. Pinhead for Toronto. Do they abbreviate Toronto with T.O., Teresa? She says, dude, I don't know. Ed Robertson, do you guys say T.O. for Toronto? I think that's a thing. Anyway, so his if you want to check out his Twitter account, it's at T.O. Pinhead. All right? T.O. Pinhead. Thank you very much for the email. That's episode 210. We're done here. There's no more. 210's over. We got more driving to do tomorrow. Appreciate you guys listening. I will let you all know via the various sources for Pinball with the Pros. Can't wait for you to see how bad of a pinball player I am. Until next time, be nice to each other, play more pinball, and take care.